Ariel Helwani in Boston alongside Dominick Cruz, the UFC bantamweight champion, TJ Dillashaw, Paul Felder, Eddie Alvarez, Travis Brown, Anthony Showtime Pettis, Matt Mitrione, and his lovely feet, who face Travis Brown this Sunday live on FS1. I always knew that you were in touch with nature, but no shoes to the media day.
As granola as possible,
Yes.
like my time in Indiana, just finally got to me, bud. I'm full-fledged hillbilly now.
The goal of this whole process that I've gone through is to evolve, because that's the only option I had, was to either sit in sorrows and be sad that I lost some prime years, or use them to the best of my ability to become a better man, and then see what that gets me at the end of it. Here I am. I'm getting ready to put it all to a test, and against a good opponent. I mean, he's been winning, and he's been champion for a little while, and he's faced some of the best, so I got no easy routes becoming a champion. I had no easy route coming back after a 3-year injury against a top 5 guy in Mizugaki. And I have no easy route coming back after another ACL surgery, fighting for the title against TJ Dillashaw. But I'm up for the challenge, I'm up for the test, and I'm excited for it.
He's bringing up topics that have to do with who my friends are, my coach, what I'm wearing, and it's like, I'm not into any of that stuff. I'm not into the TMZ, the reality lifestyle kind of reality TV star. I'm here to fight. I'm here to be a martial artist. Because I show respect doesn't mean that I'm not smart enough to talk trash with you. It's just I don't want to.
The only positive way I knew how to live before I got hurt was fighting. It was my release. It was my truth. It was my anti-depression. And when I lost it, I didn't know what to do without it. And I hit a depression, and that's when you saw me crying on the interview with you. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was at rock bottom. And I had to use that time to grow. And that's what I did. I learned a lot from it, and that's all you can do.
I thought he kind of looked like a fool myself. I feel like he went out of his way to talk so much that he kind of looked like a fool. He's trying to say that I wasn't telling him how I was going to beat him when I was sitting there telling him I was going to knock him out. And he never once told me how he's going to beat me. Kind of like hypocritical. Kind of like, oh, you're so dumb, you can't even tell me how you're going to beat me. It's like, what have you said that you're going to beat me? To me, it's just kind of looking like a fool. When you go back and watch it after I beat him on Sunday, you're going to realize it's just a bunch of talking for no reason.
I'm definitely under his skin, but he's not smart enough to realize it's a battle. That's why he doesn't talk. He hasn't understood that part of the game yet. He hasn't understood that, he's got to be able to speak if he wants to sell tickets for himself. I'm not saying all this to sell tickets. I'm saying the things that I'm saying because I'm putting myself out there. And I didn't start all this. I mean, he was the first one to say I'm knocking Dominick out in 2 rounds. I see holes in his game. Ludwig saying, TJ's a better version. You think that sat well with me? You think I enjoyed hearing that? You think that was kind? You think that was a martial artist thing to say? That's what they're saying about me. They're saying that I'm not a martial artist, I'm an entertainer. Well, they had a whole lot to say before I started saying something back. And now that I started saying something back, they've turned the tables and tried to make me out to be like I'm some kind of bad guy. Well, the truth is they started this battle and I'm finishing it.
And you have turned into one of the best, if not the best, analysts in the game. Take your fighter hat off, put your analyst hat on. How do you beat him?
I beat TJ with my instincts. I beat TJ with the path that I've been set on before he became champion. What turns people into champions isn't the belt. It's the challenges and the people that they face to build them into that champion. I've faced great opponents that are still very relevant, they're still champions, and that are still, if they're not champions, they should be. So, Joseph Benavidez, Demetrius Johnson, Uriah Fabers, the list goes on. He faced Barao twice, and he faced Joe Soto on 2 hours' notice. That's what gave him his belt. I earned my belts through wars, through hard wars, hard trials. I didn't get no route. The best guy didn't drop out of the division for me to win the belt. I beat the best guy in the division at the time to earn the belt. So here I am. I'm back, and I want to prove that I'm the best in the world.
But also you get a target on your back. Everybody kind of finds out where you're strong and where you're weak, and you're forced to evolve and grow. You need to grow quickly when you have that strap around yourself. And I think he's had that deep hole for a long time with the wrestling and not being able to defend against them good wrestlers. And I think it was a matter of time before it was found out. And it's found out, but I think I don't know if a 3-month training camp is long enough to be able to fill that gap, fill that hole in his game.
So this is your first fight week since you lost the belt.
Yeah.
Is it weird not being here as champion?
So weird. I seen the belt up there,
Yeah.
I seen the stage up there, and I'm one of these guys down here. It's definitely weird, but it's motivating and humbling, and it makes me hungry. So I like it. I feel like in this camp I became that old Anthony Pettis that has something to work for, that has something to get up in the morning and train hard for. And last camp I really didn't have that.
But I think that it's an interesting situation for a lot of us. A lot of guys are fighting their contracts out now, which never happened before. But there's other players in the market, and I think that a lot of people are starting to look at their careers, saying, "Hey, look, what's the CBA, right? As far as like the punishment that my body, my mind, my soul takes, that my family takes, versus the paycheck that I could or could not really be getting. And if I'm only gonna get half of it now, because really, I mean, physically speaking, you have to look at, oh, you're only getting half your paycheck. You have to base everything on only your show money, right? And if you get your win, then you're really then you're happy, right? So you kind of to fiscally do that. It's like, well, am I just? And I said this before in an interview earlier today, but like, am I running out of fingers to plug the dam up? You know, am I just holding back the tide and prolonging the inevitable? Where when I get done, I'm going to have nothing to show for what I've done except for what I've just been able to pay up to now. Like in 2014, I had 4 fights. Right, I got 10 paychecks. Great year. In 2015, I only had 1 fight, got 1 paycheck. Like, how am I supposed to develop any kind of a future or put anything away? When I have to dip back into the savings I got when I was in 14 because I only got 1 fight in 15, but I was healthy all year long. So like, there's nothing you can do about that, you know. And that's one of the ugly parts of this sport is that now like the nest egg I built up in 14 has dissolved some because I went into that money in 15 because I only had 1 fight. So now I'm fighting early in January. Well, sweet. Hopefully this thing works out, and either, and if I stay with the UFC or wherever I go, hopefully I can fight 2 or 3 more times, and I can start to rebuild my nest egg again. But like I said, so are you holding back the tide and prolonging the inevitable, or are you really getting ahead? And that's kind of the perspective you have to see. And you got to remember something too. Like for us as fighters, we if we have our college degrees, our degree becomes less and less valuable the more we stay here, right? Because now we're further, the world has changed, the education has changed, the mentoring and teaching and training has changed. So anything as far as like real life, like 9-to-5 life, corporate. So if the longer we stay here, the less valuable we become to somebody else other than just a face and a name, which not many people are going to be like, oh yeah, you fought in the UFC. Well, then you're immediately going to be branded as an idiot, like, or a Neanderthal or something like that. So at least that's the social stigma that I see. So like, so it's an interesting perspective. And if you view that, you can say, well, I'm not really doing myself much justice by being here because I'm only stacking a little bit of chip and have no steady paycheck versus I can go be a 9-to-5er and I can make $60,000 a year. And I know that every 2 weeks I'm going to get, $2,500.
Yeah, I think in this sport everybody's out for their own interest. Promoters, managers, fighters, we all laugh and smile and shake hands at each other. Even you, Ariel, you're after your own interest. We're doing an interview. Me and you shake hands. We're friends. If I wasn't a fighter fighting this weekend, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So that you need to understand that when you walk in a room, when everybody laughs and smiles and hugs you. First and foremost, you need to know I need to build myself. I need to make value for myself before anyone else. I can't sign with a promotion and bring no value, bring nothing to the table, yet ask that promotion, hey, are you going to give me, 10 and 10 or 20 and 20 or whatever you're going to give me? You need to say, this is what I can offer. And if what you can offer is nothing, then expect nothing in return. So that's my philosophy upon it.
Great to see you as always. Thank you for the time. Good luck Sunday. And for the record, I'll talk to Eddie Alvarez any day of the week, fight or no fight. I mean, that one kind of hit a little low below the belt, but I'll take it. And
no problem, man.
Right.
You give me a call when I'm not fighting, and we talk when I'm not fighting, and I'll believe that.
We talk all the time.
You're
a little hard to reach sometimes, let's be honest. But, answer them texts.
I'm still waiting for that stroll in Philadelphia.
You want that. Back home, you know what? We'll do it.
Stroll in the hood with very expensive cameras.
Your eyes are not lying. I have come to Boston. I am told that a Montrealer must always represent the bleu, brun, rouge. We got to wear our colors in front of the... And no one said anything. They all talked a big game on Twitter. Here I am. Not a single person has said a thing.
Emblematic of Boston, man.
Yeah.
That's just like Patriots fans, too. They're the same way.
Typical, right? They just turtle up. They run away. They scurry.
after the fight, did you propose to your girlfriend?
É verdade que você pediu sua mulher em casamento?
É verdade, terminei de falar agora com o meu empresário aqui, ele falou, agora você vai ter que casar mesmo, você pediu ela pro mundo todo. Mas tá na hora de casar já, vou casar sim.
It's true. He proposed to his girlfriend, and he had that in his mind that if he won the fight, he was going to propose. Now the whole world knows.
What happened? Have you talked to her?
Já falou com ela?
Ainda não.
Ah, yeah.
I feel like how can you be pressured? Are you feeling pressured right now doing this interview? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're not. You know, this is what you do. Like, I feel like this is what we do. It's kind of, I don't want to say cocky, I guess it's kind of cocky to say, but it's, you know, you're just sitting here, got your hand on your hip, like, what's going on, you know? I feel the same way in there. What you guys feel right now is the same way I feel in there, so.
Just my footwork. I think I switched up a little bit. Like I said, this whole fight, I was training for southpaw, so I was working on my footwork and my stances a little bit, but you know, to prepare in 4 days' notice against a different guy. I mean, I was, like I said, I was ready to fight anybody, but you know, it was just the opportunity, and I was happy that he stepped up. I mean, you know, I want to thank Kyle for stepping up and taking this, so I could perform in front of my friends and family who came out to see me. Thank you.
I want Northcutt. Bad.
How bad?
Really bad.
Can you make
Just
your argument
all the
against
hype
it?
around him. Well, you know, listen, he's a nice kid, a genuinely nice kid. Like I didn't meet him, but I saw him at the summit and whatnot. But all the undue hype. I think what does he have, 6 or 7 fights like all together? And they're down. You know, 3/4 of them are down in the South, where I don't consider the talent to be as good as it is up in the Northeast. And then his 2 opponents in the UFC, take it or leave it. And then you know. He considers himself to be a wrestler. He makes a ton of money to go in there. So, you know, where I'm at, if he wins, I think he's booked to fight in Jersey soon. If he wins, that puts him at three wins in a row in the UFC, and me with 4 wins. You know, that'd be up to the brass, but that looks good to me.
Do you now have I don't want to say newfound passion for it, but like, do you appreciate the ground game more? And since like that's just as exciting as knocking someone out.
I'll be completely honest, no, but it got me to the win. So I'm going to go home, and you better believe I'm going to throw that gi on and put my belt on and walk around with my blue belt like, yeah, what's up now? And, you know, hopefully I take a couple gi classes, get my purple belt. You guys heard it. You heard it. Daniel Gracie himself just said I'm a purple belt. Maybe a couple stripes on there. I don't know.
This fight is not going to go to the ground. He's going to knock him out. Like, I know there's going to be a striking.
Oh, yeah, right. If I had stayed on his feet any longer, I might have got knocked out.
Supposed to give him to him on the cage. I'm like, so now just to let you know you're a purple belt.
All right.
New purple belt.
Now I have to get in the gi.
I just fight. They offered me that fight, and it was my chance to get in, and I wanted the chance.
No saying no to that call because there's. I mean, it's
Not for me. No, there was no saying no. It didn't matter. It could have been at 55. It really didn't matter. I was gonna get in here. If they offered me to fight a gorilla, I would have said okay. So, it was yes. It's always yes.
Guys have been cheating for years. Bottom line, doing steroids, cheating, and it's getting cleaned up. So you've seen it already. Guys don't look the same. Tonight, every show, you see the difference. Not to call out any names, but it is what it is, man. I've been a clean fighter, no performance-enhancing drugs my entire career. I'm proud to say that. So I think it's going to make a big difference for me. A lot of these guys are used to having that, so when they don't have it, it's going to make a difference.
Like I said, I wanted a top 15 before this fight. I thought that Berkman was a statement. Now I did another knockout against a dangerous opponent. So I wanted a top 15, or like I said in previous interview, there's a guy who's coming back in August, and it's Nick Diaz. So I will be very happy to share the octagon with him.
I would have liked to let my hands go a little more. Anthony's a dangerous guy, and the idea was to wear him down, take all the pop off that fancy stuff, and just scrape him off the cage and beat him up. And he's so talented. It's tough to take risk against a guy like that.
Again, it's one of those things where in the cage, you know, I was apologizing up and down to Matt because, you know, that's not my game. I don't try to, you know, I'm not a dirty fighter, and you know, even in the fight, when I'm like, Matt, man, I'm really sorry. I promise you, I'm not trying to do that. You know, he's like, dude, I'm jumping in on you. He's, oh, it's all right. It just happens. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, man, where it's an accident. You know what I mean? And I mean, if you watch the fight, it's not like I'm moving towards him, trying to, paw at him and poke his eye. It's like every time he would jump in, I would try to back up and either hold my hand out. Third round, I think I finally started closing my fist, but I mean, it's just part of the game, I guess. It's not. There's no malicious intent behind it.
I feel bad for TJ because I know what a competitive guy he is, and that guy really trains his butt off. It's getting manipulated by people here and there, or going for money over where he's built and stuff like that. That's all secondhand to the fact that he's a human being and he's an emotional guy and he's going to take this really hard. When he lost to Sun Tzu, I had to give him a pep talk. I told him, TJ, look, I said, how you feeling? He said, I've been pretty down and out. All I said was, you can't be so emotionally invested with a win and a loss like that, or else you're not going to enjoy this thing, and that's going to hurt you. And he's like, thank you for that. I've been mentoring that guy, so I mean, I feel for him. Dude, you want insight on TJ being frustrated? I had to talk that guy off a ledge. I mean, on a daily basis when he first started training with us, because he's, he'd start crying, and he'd like try to kill somebody if they got one punch on him and they didn't think they should. He's a competitive guy, so I knew, and I said I don't want to share my insight on the fight. I knew his temper was going to be a problem in this fight. I knew that for a fact. Do you think? I know him.
Dominick's a very good fighter. I do feel like I won the fight. Just pressure alone and controlling the octagon and landing the bigger strikes. I know he got a few takedowns that I don't really feel like should be scored that great with 3 seconds control, total. It's tough, man. It's a tough one to take. I definitely didn't perform to my best either. I maybe threw a little too hard and could have touched a little bit and set some things up. And, thinking back on it, yeah, I messed up. But I still think I won. I still think I won that fight.
I said this before, when it rains, it pours. Everybody in this world has felt that before. Feels like you're having a bad day, and then you spill coffee on your shirt, and then your tire goes flat, and then you step out and stub your toe on the curb. It's like everything seems to stack up. That's kind of how I felt this time. So when it rains, it pours. You got to put a big, heavy coat on, put one foot in front of the other, and when the rain stops, everything starts growing. The flowers, the grass. Right here, I'm standing in the grass. I'm standing in the flowers. It's a nice feeling. It's going to rain again. It's a matter of time. So it's just a matter of getting through each rainy season, putting one foot in front of the other, keeping your head high, trying to stay positive when you're going through it, and then getting through it and being happy that you did and evolve from it instead of putting your head down through it.
The goal is to win coming into this. Real tough, tough to take it. I didn't like all the trash talk. That's not who I am. I feel like I want to be a little bit more of a role model, but that's someone else's. I don't know. It's tough.
Animosity's still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a similar question that TJ got earlier. He was asked if he respected you. I mean, you were in there for a tough fight, Dominick. Did he gain some respect from you tonight?
I always respected him, but we're fighting. So when you're in a fight with somebody, when they're talking about taking your head off and knocking you out in 2 rounds and not giving you any respect whatsoever, with that, I got mad and I said what I wanted to say back. It wasn't about disrespect. It's just about we're getting into a fight. And to me, that doesn't make me a bad role model. It doesn't make me a bad person. I'm going in there to hit this guy, punch him in the face, It's a fight. I'm sorry I didn't say kind things all the time, but it's a fight. He didn't exactly do very kind things to me in there, and I didn't do very kind things to him back, so forgive me for my mean words.
Is tonight the greatest moment of Dominick Cruz's life?
No. The greatest moment in my life was realizing that I didn't need a belt to be happy.
Wow. I can't imagine how much happier you are now.
There you go. Now it's a cherry on top.
Yeah, that is a powerful thing. Congratulations. So very happy for you. Enjoy it.